Welcome to the Dogtor Bros, where we have an honest discussion around vet life in and out of the clinic. My name is Chris, and I'm your doc of the day and your guide through this episode. And I'm a veterinarian in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, here with my closest friends from vet school.
Hey, this is Brandon. I'm a small animal internist in Fort Collins, Colorado.
Hey, this is Adam. I'm a relief veterinarian in Louisville, Kentucky.
Hey, this is Jeff. I'm a veterinary dermatologist in Louisville, Kentucky.
And this is Chris again. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about referral cases coming back for GP management. But before we get to that, we're going to do our opening question, or more opening game. And it's going to be Adam's favorite. It's called Name That Animal.
Woo!
So I'm going to play an animal noise, and they're going to have to try to guess what animal makes it. So are you guys ready?
Yes.
Let's do it.
All right.
Ready.
Here is the first.
I get to play this time.
The first one, yeah.
The ending was...
The ending's a different
Was
animal.
that all one?
No, that was a different animal. Just the first one.
Okay. That was impressive.
Wait, play it again. Play it again.
Yep.
I don't know, a kid blowing a kazoo or something?
An okapi?
I'm sticking with kitten,
It is
even though I know it's wrong.
an injury lemur, or lemur is what it was.
An injury lemur.
Sounds injured.
Yep.
Is it injured or doing the injuring?
It's just called an injury lemur.
Huh.
All right. And then I'm going to skip the second one since we kind of heard it. So hang on. All right. Here's the next one.
We got a sick beat going. All right.
So you know when your car doesn't really start and you're just like a chicken, 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 chicken. That. But you're at high altitude, so it's like a higher.
You're in Denver.
You're in Denver.
A monkey.
Yeah, that's actually a good guess.
Brandon.
I got nothing on that one.
It's a gibbon.
Gibbon.
So
Gotcha.
good.
That counts.
Good one, Adam. All right. We're going to do two
Yes.
more. All right. This is the next one. This one should be a toss-up. Like, easy. Layup for you guys.
Chimpanzee.
No.
A monkey. Damn it.
No.
With such confidence.
You said it was a
It
layup.
was a layup, but I thought it was, I don't know.
A macaw.
You know what? Steve Irwin would not be happy with you, JT.
Oh, man.
Clear up anything.
That's a hint.
A macaw.
Nope. It is a bird.
It's something Australian. Is it like an emu?
Mm-mm.
No. I'm just trying to guess Australian things now.
Kangaroo.
Definitely not.
That's a bird.
crocodile.
That's also a bird.
It's a kookaburra.
I'm so mad, Kristen. This is a layup. I'm going to kick.
Oh, yeah, go to sleep listing the kookaburras. That's right.
Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter, would be mad at this animal that I've never heard of. Chris isn't the host anymore. Welcome to the Dogtor Bros. We're starting over. It's so bad.
Oh, no, you killed him. All right. Oh, he's back.
But wait, there's more.
Here's the last one.
That is machine gun fire. Like,
Right.
Isn't that,
And Lindsay's still working on the cabinets.
Nail gun. Automatic nail gun.
all right. It is a shoe bill bird.
I hate this game.
Oh, yeah,
What?
I've heard of those actually.
Uh,
Yeah, they're huge.
Yeah, they're like
It sounds like it needs a
they
veterinarian.
look like
God, that would
dinosaurs. Like
duck and cover if I heard that.
they're
thing.
freaky looking.
Right.
All right, well that was a good game. Y'all think
For
great.
for you.
It was great.
Yeah, we're all very good at that.
All righty. Well, going back to the episode. So in this one, we're going to be going on kind of when we, as GPs, Adam and I will send cases over for referrals to to Brandon or JT, and then they send them back and kind of going, what is the process for GPs to follow up on these cases? Kind of how do you guys handle it and what do you guys do about it? So scenario wise, so JT and Brandon, let's say we send you a case. What do you guys do when you send them back to us for follow up with the GP?
I can start. It's Brandon again. For me, it depends on the scenario. So generally speaking, when I am on top of my records, every time I see a patient, a referral letter should be going out, ideally same day, if not within 24 hours. For me, every once in a while, it's 48 hours to the primary vet that referred the case. So that's like number one. And typically, it depends on the problem. So depending on the client's kind of capabilities, that like their kind of distance from us versus their primary vet, or cost of things, a variety of factors. A lot of mine will often benefit from coming back to me for long-term management, especially something like a really major disease that's not seen very often. Let's say like an immune-mediated hemolytic anemia or IMHA. I would be the one that generally would see them back, double check their blood work, start to the plan for decreasing medication, so on and so forth. But there's things like chronic kidney disease where I'm happy to see them, happy to do the long-term follow-up for a stable patient. That's usually like every 3 months, sometimes every 6 months. And that is definitely something that a GP could do if they felt comfortable, or if the client just really wanted to follow up with the GP. So yeah, that's typically how I roll. I try and get the records out as soon as I can for whatever we did that day. I generally will have like a kind of a brief follow-up plan. Like in my notes, it's even for me, it's like recheck in 3 weeks or, 3 months, do this blood work, maybe blood pressure, so on or so forth. And then that way, if the GP gets it back, they can follow that plan.
This is Jeff. I'll say, yeah, I was sitting here thinking, man, it really depends on the scenario, just like Brandon was saying. So it'll depend on what we get into, but I'd say in general, I'm pretty similar in that within 24 hours, my GP colleagues on that case should have my records or have access to them because we have an online portal now. I also really like to get my records done by end of day. So usually they're pretty available, and I'm always putting in, they'll have my entire discharge that also went to the client, but also my physical exam, my full SOAP notes, medications they're on, etc. And if it's something like a run-of-the-mill allergy case, then it's more like, here's my follow-up plan specifically for the problem that they were sent to me for, and here are my recommendations for recheck and moving forward. Here's a 4-week recheck. I'm going to continue to work up the problem that they sent them to me for and manage that long term, but they have to go back to their GP because there are things that I don't treat, and I need my GP colleagues to handle everything from the simple things like the vaccines to, well, sometimes they'll call me if they're on a medication maybe that could have had a side effect of vomiting or diarrhea, like let's say just antibiotics, and then I'll say, okay, well, we'll troubleshoot that. Maybe we stopped or changed the antibiotic, and if it's still happening, please see your general practitioner for follow-up supportive care meds, things like that.
Oh, awesome. And then, Adam, let's say you have the case come into you, and what do you do when it comes into you? What do you do if you can't get the records from the specialist, and now you're the GP trying to follow up on this case and figure out what to do next?
Yeah, so this is Adam. So there's a few different scenarios, I guess, where I'll have something that was seen with a specialist that comes back to me. So one, They saw the specialist, they did the tests, they did, maybe even got a diagnosis and got it managed, and then they're coming back to us just for long-term maintenance. So say something like a Cushing's disease or diabetes, maybe they were DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis, and they were hospitalized with a specialist. They got them regulated or at least stable, started them on insulin, and now they're coming back to me for like curves and that sort of thing. A lot of times with that, there's really good notes, really good documentation from the specialist, what they did and where things need to go kind of moving forward. So that's obviously ideal scenario. The whole reason we kind of refer to the specialist is to get their expertise. They do their end, and then for the long-term maintenance, they come back to us. So that's ideal, perfect world in terms of coming back from a specialist. I also have some that come to us specifically for monitoring. So like certain patients I've had, they're on like chemotherapy through the specialist, and then they require like a CBC every month or 2 months or whatever. They'll come to us for that blood work just because, one, it's cheaper, two, it's easier for us as the GP to get them in to get that blood work done. And then we get those results, we send them to the specialist, and then the specialist, makes the call on adjusting meds or things from that point. So kind of working in tandem with the specialist, whereas we can provide that service to get the blood, run the blood, again, because it's cheaper, more easily accessible, and then send that to the GP for the specialist for the follow-up. The not so cool situations are when they go to a specialist. So say they like go to a specialist, and then they realize that it's a little bit out of their realm, or maybe they start approving things and they run a couple tests, and they haven't really found an answer, and we're getting to the point where we're kind of out of the realm of what the owner can financially take on. And they just kind of say, okay, I can't keep going this way. I can't keep doing the test and whatnot financially. So unfortunately, they have to stop seeing the specialist and they come back to us. And those obviously get hard because I'm not a specialist, So again, I can take the information that they had with them at the specialist, obviously, take that into account. Sometimes, the specialist in their notes will say recommended next steps. Sometimes those are things that are more affordable with us. Sometimes those are things that are out of our wheelhouse or out of the capabilities of our clinic, and that's tough. And that's where you kind of have to have a real conversation with the owner and say, look, like I understand that from a financial standpoint or whatever it may be, that's not something that you can continue to pursue with a specialist, but here's the things that I can do. Here's the things I can help you with. And obviously, again, I can kind of consult with the specialist, both my local specialist or, IDEX, Antec, they have specialists as well that you can kind of refer to too. So it's kind of working in tandem with the specialist to get their opinion, and then working within the constraints of the client as well.
I mean, that's pretty much how we kind of handle it as well. Being in GP, and you kind of triggered a memory we had a case that came to us a while back, and it was for follow-up from seeing the specialist. And I think I had been to the specialist once or twice prior, and it took me a while to get through all his history just to review everything, which for GPs going through everything, kind of like how specialists do to follow up to make sure we got all the story straight, takes us a lot longer. For me, at least for me to do it. For one, we don't have as much time per case, and we're usually jumping back from one another. So I'm reading through this case, and I think overall it took me about 45 minutes to figure out what was going on with this case. And it was a obese cat that was cushingoid with a cardiac condition that was also diabetic at the same time. So it was kind of a crazy case. So I'm trying to make sure I got my thought process straight on what to even do next. And I kind of went in the room and I was like, why are you following up with us? Because it seemed like it was just diagnosed. So I'm like, I would have sent you back to the specialist. They're like, don't even come here. Like, this is something where it's like, we need you to help figure it out. Like with the specialist, they're there for a reason. So we did the case. The cat was going into DKA, or was like flirting with it when we repeated the blood work. And I was like, you need to go back to the specialist now, because now we're flirting with, because they weren't treating the diabetes because they thought it was just from the Cushing's. And I was like, yeah, that's great, but you're still going into DKA because now we have an uncontrolled diabetic at this point. So that was just a whole case. And then they ended up doing surgery to take out the adrenal that was causing the issues, but they had to find an anesthesiologist. It was kind of going all over the state trying to figure out how to get it. The cat's doing great now. But yeah, that was kind of a crazy case that I just kind of triggered when Adam said DKA. But yeah, that was, again, those were one of the ones I'm like, you need to go back to a specialist. I don't think we're the best place for you here as a GP, because for all the just ins and outs of things that could happen wrong, basically we just try to work with the specialists and the GPs. We want to just communicate. If we don't get the records, it's kind of hard for the GPs to figure out what the next step is. A lot of time we're going off of what the clients are telling us. I would say rarely do I never not get records from our specialists on what to do next. They're really good about getting us their records on kind of going over. And if for some reason we don't get them and we contact them, they'll send them over right away. And sometimes we'll just tell the owners, hey, can you give us half an hour? We're trying to get in contact with them. And then they're like, oh, that's fine. Or they actually have the discharge instructions on their phone, or they brought them with them, which just makes our life even easier. And they were like, perfect, we're going to do blood work today. And then we go do blood work or take x-rays or do something else.
This is Brandon again. I was just going to say one thing that I ran into it more in Iowa. I've rarely run into it here. Is sometimes a client will come to us for a problem. We'll do a workup. We'll, maybe get them on a plan. And then they don't want to come back to us for certain diagnostics for costs, but they have their primary vet call us and make recommendations, which I'm usually happy to do, like initially getting a thing set up, just making sure we're all on the same page. And then some clients and vets will like take advantage of that, like over and over again, which can be a big, like, it's just really annoying on the specialist side of things, because we're trying to manage the patients, and we don't know every in and out of what's going on in the patient's life, how they're responding to certain things. We're kind of just getting secondhand information from the primary vet. And then on top of that, like, we are providing our expertise, and we're essentially not getting compensated for it. So like for me, like I've had a couple of CKD patients where primary vet contacts us like once or twice. I'm happy to like give recommendations, set up a plan. But then it's like when it happens like multiple times over the course of like 1 or 2 months, it's like tricky to navigate.
Yeah, I was gonna mention, and I agree with the things that Brandon's mentioning. The hard ones are the ones that, of course, are more money concerned. It is really helpful though when we prepare our clients, because I also refer cases to different specialties as well. Sometimes I send them to Brandon's people over in internal medicine when there's things that I can't figure out, or if I think there's something internal that really needs a specialist to be identified. And those back and forths between me and getting records from the other specialists, or getting updated records from a general practitioner in a case that is more money concerned. So they do want to get the price check, and they're like, oh, this CBC Kim is a little bit cheaper at my vet. That's no problem. But what's hard is when they flare for whatever condition, they go back to their general practitioner, a lot has been done, and then I don't always get the automatic update. That is hard. And so then I spend a little extra time, or my staff spends a little extra time, like getting those updated records. Or sometimes if I haven't seen a case in like 9 months, and they come in and they're like, oh yeah, we had the ears treated a couple of times at our vet before we saw you again. And I'm like, oh, and it's okay, but oftentimes they don't remember everything that's been done. So then we do play the cat and mouse game on the phone. Whether it's me calling to talk to the GP or just getting updated records can be hard. But I do appreciate the cases where if they're being sent and they say, hey, we really can't afford a ton of stuff, but we just want to kind of see. We wanted to get some extra eyes on our dog, and that's what our GP recommended, and they recommended to you. I love those cases because then I write extra notes as though they may not be able to come back and see me, because that's what they kind of came in front hand saying. Otherwise, I am going to set them up for, if I don't know, I'm going to set you up for probably rechecking and trying to fix whatever they're coming in for. So I think at the end of the day, for most things, it comes down to that communication, which makes everything so much smoother. Like if I know I'm not going to see him again, I'm going to really try to set you up for success and easy follow-up that any other doctor can read. And then, it gets much trickier when I don't know where the cutoff is for a client, and maybe they don't know. So I don't really blame them necessarily, but if they kind of come in with a plan of, we came to you to take it from there, that's what we do, or we came to you, this might be our only day we can see you, then I treat those cases very differently, but I still give everybody the right medical advice.
That's great to hear. And I mean, that kind of just drives the point home of like, just communication is key for the success of everything. And that kind of helps us out in general with everything. So wrapping up this episode, we're going to go with one of our fun outro games. And this one's just for everybody, is kind of go through, what is the worst smell in the clinic?
This is Adam. I'll start this one. So when I saw this, a specific memory was jostled in my mind. And it was when I worked at Banfield years ago. It was like not too long after maybe my first year or two out. I saw a dog that was having some vomiting. No diarrhea per the owner, just vomiting. So we did some diagnostics. We did some x-rays. We sent the x-rays to the specialist, to the radiologist. They sent back a report. And the owner was very adamant, no diarrhea, just vomiting. And the report came back, and I was reading through it, and it said that there was evidence of impending diarrhea. And I just thought that was funny. I was like, it's common, The owner's like, no diarrhea, but I'm like, it's common. And so we were talking about that, just joking with the text and whatnot. I just thought it was kind of funny. And I swear to you, 30 minutes before this dog got picked up, the most explosive diarrhea you've ever seen in your life just exploded all over the clinic. And it was the most foul-smelling diarrhea I've ever smelled in my life. We had the receptionist. There was a door to the receptionist, and they were coming back, and they're like, "We can smell that up front. Like, what is that?" It was just god-awful. But yeah, that impending diarrhea got to us before the dog got home. So that definitely came to mind when I thought of worst smell in the clinic.
This is Jeff. I've got two very fast ones. It'd be a toss-up for me between like some nasty resistant Pseudomonas ears, where whole exam room is filled with the owner, or filled with the odor the moment they walk into the room, and they can linger even when you take them to the treatment area and back. Like that versus a nice hemorrhagic gastroenteritis secondary to a parvo, just like that bloody frank blood stool, like that irony smell is cemented in my brain, and I probably haven't smelled that in 7 to 8 years. But like I can smell it just thinking about it.
I'm surprised nobody said anal glands yet, because that is definitely mine. I have
They're on the list.
Yeah, like for me, so anal glands, it's very, like, I guess it's not triggering, but I have this memory when I was an intern. We had this dog. It was in respiratory distress. Had to be lifted into the oxygen kennel. I lifted the back end, and I got anal glands to the face.
No.
To the face. And that smell never went away for the rest of that shift. So
that's awful.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. That's terrible, Brandon. This is Chris. We had a tech who was expressing anal glands and expressed them right into her mouth.
That'll be my 2 weeks right there.
She like the crazy thing is she made it outside to vomit. And I was I would have just projectile vomited there.
Yeah.
I was about to say she had to have vomited.
Yeah.
She did. It just was outside. Like she was like panicking and then just like ran because there's like 2 doors she had to go through. And I was like, why are you like, I would have just done it right then and there. So
and for that reason, I'm out.
So yeah, that
we had to leave veterinary medicine. I'm like, I'm good.
That's probably the worst like animal gland experience I've ever seen.
Jeez.
And then I would say the smells though for me though, Brandon, animal gland makes sense for the face, but it wasn't a parvo dog, but we were doing surgery and it had that HGE like diarrhea, but it was happening while we were in the operating room for a foreign body. So it's just like
you can't
leaking
escape
out.
Yeah.
No, so you're just there doing surgery and it's just like wafting in the room. And it's just, I could smell it. I'm like, oh, it's underneath the drape and they're checking it. And it's just like, everyone's trying to clean it up, but it's like that watery mess where it doesn't really clean.
I hate this so much.
Yeah, that's the worst smell. And then on top of that, you get the foreign body out and it looks like it just, it just smells terrible in there. So we had it from both ends coming out. So
man.
That was the worst smell.
That's impressive.
Yikes.
Nasty.
Thank you once again for joining us on the Dogtor Bros.
If you would like to support us, please share this episode with others who may be interested in today's topic and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Would you like to influence our next episode? We love hearing your opinions and thoughts. Your comments may be our next topic.
Please leave us suggestions via email at thedoctorbros@gmail.com, DM us at thedoctorbros on Instagram, or leave us comments on our posts. Again, this is Brandon. You can reach me at Dr. Mason IM on Instagram.
And this is Chris, and you can reach me on Instagram at dr.chrishernandez.
And this is Jeff. You can find me on Instagram at DermDrJeff, DermDogtorJeff.
And this is Adam. You can reach me on Instagram at DrAdamDVM. That's DrAdamDVM.